popcorn.
Woo, woo. Let me tell you, first of all, this channel is not here to bash certain people or bash certain companies. It's for entrepreneurs and business owners and managers and promoters and everyone else to learn from other people's mistakes. So it's crazy what I saw on Facebook today. Already over 1,000 shares. Oh, sorry. I should put it on Do Not Disturb. But anyway, had a call come in. And I only do a video once a week, and I just dropped a video last night. Well, I think it actually uploaded this morning or whatever, but I fit to drop this one today because this is absolutely crazy. Now, in Jackson, Tennessee, a town close to me, I grew up there most of my life. I've seen the progression of the city. From I can remember when Walmart was not a super center. I can remember when there were small restaurants like Western Sizzlin and Po Folks was down in Jackson, and I'm sure people can remember further back. But something I always enjoyed doing was going to the movie theaters. And recently, a theater in Jackson had an issue on Facebook. Well, had an issue in the theater that ended up on Facebook because, like I've said in multiple videos, this is the world of social media, whether you like it or not. You don't have a choice. This is the world that it is. People can literally touch their glasses, just, touch your glasses, and you're on Facebook. That's the world that we're in now. So, there was a story on Facebook about a daycare. And I've seen customers talk about this daycare. It seems pretty impressive. Good daycare, good reviews from parents, things of that nature. And I've only had, since last night, well, basically this morning about 1:30, and further to kind of research it and things of that nature. And I understand there's always two sides to the story. So I wasn't going to post anything until maybe I saw video footage or something of that nature. But I'll get on to the story. Basically, there was 20 to 22 kids from a daycare from ages 3 to 5, is what this parent said. And the person of the daycare had called ahead and said they're coming. Which of course, a theater should take. I mean, especially nowadays, business struggle, especially theaters. Theaters got hit hard when streaming services went online and things of that nature. There was even talk a couple years ago that theaters were closed down. So, theaters need to take a different approach when it comes to business. Because theaters are not number one to see movies anymore. They're second string. So, basically what happened is, of course, theaters hire teenagers and kids and things of that nature. And which I think is great. It gives kids a great platform to learn teamwork and to interact socially. Because too many kids nowadays are just on their phone in their bedrooms and stuff like that. So it gives them a way to learn the world, to get working, to build up some spare money, things like that. They're not getting paid huge, but they're learning. And then apparently anyway, back to the story. Apparently, the kids are in the theater, from what I have spoken to people about and seen comments about. And one of the people from the daycare come to get popcorn. Now, I don't believe I've taken my children to this theater because theater is just an experience now. It's not a have-to thing. So, um, I would assume, now this is just my assumption, they have kid-sized popcorns. But apparently there was trays or something of that nature, and the kids, of course, I'm would want popcorn. It's a theater. There's no way I'm going to step into a movie theater after smelling that smell of popcorn and have that experience. Kids would want popcorn too. Possibly, a package of candy of some sort and a small drink. And we all know that prices of this popcorn and stuff like that are high in theaters. I'm not going to say gouging, but it's really high. And I understand it to a point because it's an experience now. It's not like I said, a have to thing. But I do get that. As a parent, I would pay it. I understand it. I'm not going every night, every weekend or something like that, but it's an experience. And apparently this person that was with the daycare wanted 20 to 22 orders of popcorn, possibly a drink, possibly candy, and there was some confusion on it. I don't understand how there's confusion. Maybe the theater was running a skeleton crew. I don't know. A lot of details haven't been really put out there. But basically, the kids wasn't able to do it somehow, so they called the manager, or they asked from the manager for help, possibly. And from what I'm gathering, the manager of this theater called the police. Now, I think there's still bits and pieces of the story missing. There is pictures up. I haven't seen any video. I've asked for video, and that's a little suspicious on my part that there's not video from people in the theater, considering, like I said, this is the world of social media, the world of cameras, the world of phones. It is a little suspicious to me. But I think that it was completely mishandled. First of all, like I said, a theater is not the big thing anymore. It's just not. So, if I hear 22 kids want to buy popcorn, as a manager, I'm going to do what I can to de-escalate any kind of situation that may have happened. I don't even know if this person at the counter escalated to a bad situation. Let's face it. She may have been upset that they couldn't do it. I don't know. That's not out there. But what I do know is, as a manager of a location, and I've researched somewhat this manager. I've seen that she worked at a high-end dog place or something. I mean, I'm sure she's got experience. I would hope, if the place hired her as a manager, I would think. There has been some comments about dropping off kids at the theater. That's what theaters have always been there for. I never went to the theater with my parents. I can understand if you're dropping off kids too young. I get that. I understand it. Kids want to go to theater without their parents. It's been happening for years. Years. I'm 41, so you know. I did see that comment by the manager, and I thought it was asinine, to be honest. Just my years of experience of managing and doing business. But that was a past comment. So, but it still tells me the managing aspect of the situation. So I put that into play here. And apparently the cops show up. From what I see on the post, it was 3 officers. Now, there's some comments about, the cops shouldn't have this, cops shouldn't have that. The cops were there to do a job. I do believe that the police officers should have tried to de-escalate the situation because children was involved. There's no way, after what I saw of the post, that the police officers had flashlights on the kids and told them that they had to come out of the theater, that some of them wasn't scared or nervous. We have to remember, when dealing with children, they're impressionable. And I know police officers do de-escalation training, or I believe they do. I would hope they do in Jackson. But I do believe the officers were there to do a job. Like I said, there's no video. There is comments. But my God, I don't see a situation, unless there was belligerence or violence, that you would have to call the police on a daycare. So maybe there was. I don't know. I'm not assuming. I'm not accusing. But what I am saying is, as a manager of a place like this, of somewhere like a theater or something that already struggle because of streaming services, theaters aren't packed anymore unless it's a major movie for the experience. You don't try to deny the facility from making money. And this was done two ways that I see so far. First of all, not wanting to give them the popcorn. There's many parents on there saying that, and customers that were there, not just customers that wasn't associated with the daycare, customers that were there for the experience, saw some of this and posted it, and said that this was wild. Now, they used some other words, but I'm not going to use those words on YouTube, but wild. Why deny, if there's no violence, no belligerence, no Karen-like attitude at the counter, deny 3 to 5 year olds popcorn for their experience? Wow. I mean, that's crazy. You don't go to a theater without getting the popcorn. It's part of it. It's like, fries and a Frosty. It's the experience. It's the culture of going to a theater. And I think that's why theaters still survive, is because of the culture of it, and the years embedded into the American society of going to theaters, having popcorn, watching a movie. I went to theaters just to see a movie I've already seen before, just for the popcorn and just for the experience. And this theater has great seating. I've seen some other reviews about how it's clean, stuff like that. It's crazy. I went to small town theaters where they only have one screen, to bigger theaters where they have multiple screens. And you get a different experience every time. And you need revenue to keep that experience alive. You need revenue to keep the business going. And like I said, this is the world of social media. There is no reasoning why this could happen. I mean, to be honest, unless I said someone was belligerent at the counter or violent or something like that, it's blown up on social media, and managers have to remember that this is the day and time of social media. It just is, and it's absolutely crazy. It went way too far, and I think it was a huge mistake on the theater's part. I do. Now, if someone at this daycare acted out of line, then that's a huge problem for the daycare, I believe, because this could get bad. And it is strange that this would happen to kids. I don't think kids were the victims here. They didn't get that experience. No matter what happened, kids were the victims here, and that's something that a manager of a facility like this has to take into consideration, to high consideration, because you're going to have upset parents. You're going to have kids that's most likely one or two out of 20 to 22 kids have been traumatized and upset, and this is wild. So I saw some comments from some customers that were there. They saw some of this. They was appalled by it, and there's even pictures of the officers and things like that. They did look young. Maybe they didn't have the years of experience to back the training to handle the situation, such as de-escalation. But it started with the manager. And that's something that we have to remember as management or as ownership of a business. So the struggles of a theater they're already second string. It's for the nostalgia, it's for the experience. And I hope managers of places that have entertainment like this and venues like this understand that you need the revenue. So you need to de-escalate a situation. Am I saying you should let someone run over you? No. But there is a line there that you have to find. And that goes with experience of management and socializing and being a decent person. And I'm not saying this manager isn't a decent person. I'm just saying there's a few things that are unknown here. But the major thing is learn de-escalation as a manager or in management, especially for places like this that there's been thousands of theaters closed down, hundreds of thousands across the nation, I believe. If you have the exact numbers, comment below. But this is wild, and I don't understand it completely yet, and I was hesitant on making the video of this, but I do see an opportunity to hopefully help other business owners, entrepreneurs, management, and things of that nature, because the struggles of a movie theater, or just as I said, they're not number one anymore. There's Netflix, there's Hulu, there's HBO Max, there's Peacock, there's YouTube itself that show movies. And there was a lot of hundreds and hundreds of comments, and something I did find a little suspicious is the video hasn't been posted yet. But the other thing I found suspicious, and this is what got me, is parents that had children there and other customers that have been there before did reviews on Google for this theater. I saw them last night. I screenshotted them. And I'm going to post them in this video. They've been deleted. I think deleting reviews is one of the biggest mistakes you can make, depending on the review. As a company, you should respond to that review in a professional manner, or even in a transparent manner, possibly even a realistic manner. You should respond to that if you have nothing to hide. When you delete the comments, it tells me, as a parent, as a possible customer, that there's something to hide. That's suspicious to me. So there's a lot of suspicion when it comes to this. No video from anyone from the daycare or any customers that were there already, which I don't know if there was that many customers. Like I said, it's a theater. But there was, I think, 3 people that was there that I saw comment, possibly more that hasn't commented, that said they saw some of this and they were appalled. Other customers have come out and said they've been treated in a similar manner. And that's the snowball effect. As I mentioned in other videos, social media can make you or it can break you. And I hope someone learns from this video and understand that you got to learn to de-escalate a situation, de-escalation, and try to help the customer to a certain point. And you got to remember, if you're dealing with children, it's very serious. And when you involve the police when it comes to children, it's extreme, in my opinion, on a daycare. Police called on a daycare. That is, it's almost comical, but not, because the children can be affected in this. And that's the responsibility of somewhere like I had a family friendly pool hall. I understood children would be there. I understood parents would drop off children. We had no issues ever. So, I mean, it's absolutely crazy to me. This is going to be one of my longest videos, I think. But this is wild. I'll do a part 2 of this if I find out any more information. The theater may try to make this go away somehow or something, and I don't blame them to a point. But I do think that the management of the theater should come out with some kind of apology, a sincere apology. And I also think they should never delete reviews again, because they look really suspicious doing it. Any company does. It's almost like hiring a company to post fake reviews. It's cringy, and it's weird, and it's really suspicious on the theater's part. They're trying to hide something, is what it seems like. And like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my sponsors. I'll put them in the description. W Energy, Locked In caffeine pouches, which are great. Got some pouches in right now. So just yeah, this is wild. Take it easy.